Welcome to Zoom and Zoom Out. I'm your host, Alec MacDonald. Under Xi Jinping's leadership, China's society has undergone vast changes. Now, some young Chinese are using their feet to vote by leaving China for Japan. To discuss what's behind the stories of China's new diaspora, we are joined by Takehiro Masutomo, author of Runner, following the footsteps of elite Chinese escaping to Japan. Hiro, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me today.
So I want to start off asking, what inspired you to write this book right now? Why do you feel this is such an important story?
A good friend of mine from China, so she was quite liberal, anti-Chinese government, and she kind of escaped to Japan. Tragically, she passed away in Tokyo. From that point on, I became more and more interested in this entire phenomenon, why Chinese people are leaving their motherland and arriving in Tokyo. In 2022, there was this widespread white paper movement across mainland China, and there was also a gathering in Tokyo, and that was quite massive in scale. I witnessed this in front of Shinjuku Station, and that was the moment I realized maybe the type of Chinese residents in Japan has been changing. Maybe there are some political motivated, maybe activists arriving in Tokyo.
Are these immigrants, are they mostly dissidents, or are some of them, they don't have much political thought into this, but they're dissatisfied with what's going on in China?
Part of them are like dissidents type of immigrants. They are seeking freedom of expression, freedom of speech in Japan. But many others are coming to Japan in pursuit of economic assurance or reassurance, and also better educational opportunities.
What are some of the stories that you're hearing? The netizen term for this in Mandarin is 用脚投票, literally meaning using their feet to vote by leaving China for Japan.
The title of my book is 润日. So 润 means, it's a new slang meaning to have better life abroad. And it has double meaning with this English word, run, right, to escape. And ri, of course, refers to Japan. And ask anyone, any Chinese person, they know what this means. I think it's unmissable global trend. I think ruin is happening not just in Japan, but they are escaping to other part of the world.
Is Japan the country they're most commonly going to, or is there another country that most of them are going to?
So over the past few years, Japan suddenly became really the top destination for those wannabe room people. So of course, some of them escaped to other countries like Thailand, Singapore, in Asia, and other maybe European countries, US. But considering all kinds of factors, including cost of living and visa policies, Japan has become the top choice for many Chinese people.
When they're touching down in Japan, is this their first time going to Japan, or do they have some language background?
I have interviewed more than 100 of Runru people, those who are escaping to Japan, and I realized typically they are in their 30s or above. Actually, this generation happens to be the one who grew up with Japanese cultures. They like watching Japanese anime and they use Japanese products a lot. Many of them had been to Japan as tourists before emigrating to Japan because the Japanese government relaxed tourist visa during the 2010s. So they had a chance to witness how living in Japan is really looking like.
You said that most of them are in their 30s or older.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Older.
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily university students or younger. Do they have families that they're moving with, or are they mostly single?
I think future of Runri people, So they often come with their kids. So I mentioned factors behind their escape to Japan. One is economic assurance and educational opportunities. So sometimes, in many cases, these different factors overlap. And adding to that, I want to also stress that typically these Lun people cannot command good Japanese because they kind of suddenly decided to come to Japan following the Shanghai lockdown 2022.
So the Shanghai lockdown then was a catalyst for many of them to make the decision to leave China for Japan.
Correct. So in many cases, they used to live in big cities in China, and they saw what was unfolding in Shanghai. If there are any similar contingencies in the future, they could see that maybe their freedom will be restricted.
Other than the Shanghai lockdown, was there any other, when you're talking to them, is there any other catalyst or that first decision when they decide it's time for me and my family to leave?
Well, I would still say, the Shanghai lockdown was the biggest catalyst for their decision. But, this is, I think, a gradual change of their mind. So when I count those Lunri people, I actually count those who decided to come to Japan starting from 2018 when the Chinese constitution was revised.
If they don't have great command of Japanese and they're learning it as they get to Japan, do they have a lot of job opportunities?
A lot of them complain that all these procedures are a bit too complicated. Maybe that's a trait of Japanese system. Other than that, I think it's not easy for them to integrate it into Japanese society with this language barrier.
Because the state of relations between Japan and China is not fantastic right now,
Yes.
to say the least. Is there any pushback against from Japanese who are worried about a lot of Chinese, whether they're dissidents or not, moving to Japan, finding jobs, kind of creating an ecosystem to help more Chinese move to Japan?
Yeah.
Is there any pushback on that from the general public?
Starting from last summer, there was this rise of anti-immigration sentiment in Japan. I think it has something to do with this growing Chinese population in Japan. So this time around, a lot of wealthy Chinese people are coming to Japan, buying up properties in central Tokyo. So this became quite visible last year. That's why the current Takaichi government decided to tighten visa requirements, especially for business manager visa, which has been a pathway for Chinese people to emigrate to Japan. Previously, they could just pay capital of 5 million yen to found a company, and then you can live in Japan. But now the bar is higher, so you need to pay more than at least 30 million yen. So it's six-fold increase. And not just that, basically you need to hire a Japanese person. I know some already decided to leave Japan for other countries or going back to China.
And so that kind of sets up my next question. With the additional challenges now, with additional challenges not knowing the language initially, do they reach a point where they decide this is too much, I need to go back to China despite the opposition and the struggles that they find there?
Because these people are always looking for best destinations. So they always compare different countries. So if Japan doesn't really work as an option, then maybe they will consider other destinations, maybe like some smaller countries, for example, in Europe.
About how many of these people are engaged in dissident political activity? Do they move to Japan or other countries and then try to just live with their family, conduct business, or are they forming political dissident groups?
That's a good question, I think. And among these new immigrants, I think this community of Chinese dissidents is not so big in total, but it's quite significant. I see an emerging trend that Chinese intellectuals are gathering, clustering in Tokyo. They are forming a new community there. And I think this can be proved by the fact that there are nowadays a lot of Chinese language independent bookstores. So many of them go there regularly to attend events and so on. These places has become really important hub for those intellectuals and dissident type of Chinese people.
China infamously does not leave their dissidents alone, however. Transnational repression, it's a very common problem in the United Kingdom for Hong Kongers or Chinese who have moved there. Are there stories about that in Japan, in Tokyo, where some of these bookstores might get harassed?
I know there are many instances where their families harassed in mainland China because sometimes their parents still live in China and others maybe just going back and forth between Japan and China. So some people are really careful and stay really low-key so that they won't be spotted by the Chinese authorities.
Do these people have hopes and ambitions for the future that China might change under a new leader or government or anything for more politically minded? Or are they moving to just escape to a new life? Or is there a growing bigger optimism and hope that this community has?
Yeah, I think there are two kinds of people. I think one maybe anticipating some change for the better in China in the future. But also there are others who are just enjoying their life in Japan. These people actually don't really care so much about China anymore. They don't read news about China and so on. So I would say there are two types of Chinese people in Tokyo.
This is a book that I think touches on a lot of controversial topics. How has it been received also it's only available in Japanese and traditional Chinese in Taiwan right now. How has it been received in Japan and then in Taiwan?
I get a lot of feedback from the Japanese kind of establishment people, like government officials, politicians, and those working in big corporations, because maybe they found some novelty in my book. That's a kind of reaction I received from Japanese readers. And from Chinese readers in Japan, I think they are quite delighted to see that somebody like me explained what was happening in this community. In Taiwan, I hear it's selling quite well, and they are quite curious about contemporary China and contemporary Japan. Maybe that's trigger their interest. I hope it will give a moment for Taiwanese readers to rethink what's happening in Taiwan. I mean, I don't see any shadow of Chinese people here. So I think that Taiwan kind of chose a different path. So yeah, it's somehow maybe comparable with the situation in Japan.
Hiro, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's really been an interesting conversation.
Thank you so much.
This has been Zoom and Zoom Out. If you want to find more stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the TaiwanPlus News YouTube channel. Also remember to like and even leave a comment below. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.